protect ourselves, they could have made that decision without putting us through all this suffering and expense. I'm here to oppose 15.5, the appointment of Mr. Wong, strongly oppose. I was the doctor who ad 2 days before the election on November 2nd. It reads at the bottom, I'm going to read it out aloud to you here. It's a little ad at the back. Monsanto, Dow and Monsanto had representatives take the back page. This is on the front page over here. And what it reads, I'm going to read it now to everybody. It says, there's a photograph of it, then it says, Maureen Trobe, MD, First Medical Doctor, Community Clinic of Maui. This is being heard by the world. We don't just represent Maui at this time. Genetic contamination. And it says here, Maui medical doctor of 20 years warns, health crisis, Maui/Molokai. It is my opinion, and it is the opinion of many, that we are already facing a health crisis. And we have been for quite a while. It also says, health department says, quote, water contaminated. Then it says, vote yes on GMO voter initiative, stop open air genetic experiments / chemical experiments. So we are being exposed here to experimentation. It's not really food, it's open air genetic experimentation, and 80 chemicals are currently being sprayed here in the land, and they are untested and unregulated. And that has been admitted by the FDA. It also says on the same front page, mahalo nui loa. Please protect us. We face a health crisis, and we're posing it to the world, and the tourists know. And they're going to know more. Aloha.
Thank you, Dr. Traub. Mr. Clerk.
The next person to testify is Shelley Mack, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. Last call for Shelley Mack. Next individual to testify in the council chamber is Ann Picathly, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. Last call for Ann Picathly. The next person to testify in the chamber is Pat Simmons, Jr., testifying on Committee Report 15-5. He will be followed by Maria Pohl.
Aloha kako. My name is Pat Simmons Jr. I'm raised in the Ahupua'a of Peahi and in the Moku Hamakua Loa. I have a degree in ecology from Evergreen State College, and I've been studying soil science and agriculture for the past four or 5 years. And I'm concerned for the health and well-being of me and my family, and I speak for many of the young people from Haiku and North Shore and all my friends that couldn't make it here today. A lot of us care, and a lot of us can't be here today, and the young people are going to be taking the torch in the next 20, 30 years. And we want to know that we can trust you guys. We want to know that we can trust our politicians, because at the moment I don't exactly feel that I can trust you guys. And I think it's wrong to appoint someone who has refused to listen to me and listen to my family and listen to what we have to say. And if we really want aloha aina here, we have to work together, because we're all in the same canoe, we're all in the same boat, all on this little island, and it's a small island, yeah. And even though it's a small island, people have lived here for many generations and fed each other. And I want to tell you today that I'm really thankful that I get a chance to speak here. And I believe in true democracy. I believe that it's a good thing that I can come down here and speak. And I want to see democracy upheld, and right now I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening here at all, actually. And I worked a lot to get this GMO moratorium passed. I know a lot of people spent many days and hours not being paid to get this done. And it passed. And it was a huge celebration, and people were stoked. And now to see that the people that we trust to uphold our vote are refusing to listen to us and refusing to stand up for what people have worked hard to put forward. It's just disgraceful to me. It's a huge disgrace. And if you want to continue working and having a job, you got to show the young people on the island that you're willing to stand up for them. Because right now, it doesn't look like it's happening. And I really want to see this island clean. I really want to see all the surfers not getting staff. My friend Francisco he said he was getting staff from surfing. I surf a lot too. I haven't gotten staff yet, but I'm also a cancer survivor, and it's my 1-year anniversary this past month. And I hope that my kids' don't get cancer. And so please do not appoint this man to council. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Maria Pohl, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. She will be followed by Jonathan Walczek Pohl.
My name is Maria Pohl. I am a biologist. I live in Huelo. After all that was said about Patrick Wong, I would like to strongly reinforce and ask that he is not appointed. I don't feel that he will represent us, and I don't trust him, because he, in my opinion, he is a criminalist. He supposed to not be in the position of making decisions because he is not representing people. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Pohl. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Jonathan Walczek Pohl, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. He will be followed by Susanna Walczek Pohl.
My name is Jonathan Walczak, and I strongly oppose the reappointment of Mr. Wong. And I would like Mr. White.
You can pull the microphone up.
My name is Jonathan Walczak, and I oppose the reappointment of Mr. Wong. And I would like Mr. White and the rest of the council to please take into consideration all the sad reasons why the community and myself do not want him back in office. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walczek Pohl. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Susanna Walczek Pohl, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. Last call, Susanna Walczek Pohl. The next person to testify is John Jenkins, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. He will be followed by Michelle Joyce Thornton.
Aloha. As you can tell by my sunburn, I'm a haole. I'm from northern Wisconsin. I'm here visiting my son, who I'm proud to say works in your wind industry. He works at the wind turbine. He's a lead wind turbine technician at Lahaina. And he invited us here as he couldn't make it home for Christmas. And I couldn't be prouder of him for protecting the Aina. And I guess my statement is more of a question. You people have a golden opportunity to present to the rest of the world. My mainland, we grow 3 months, maybe 2 months of the year. And our crops are being destroyed just like yours by these giant corporations. They have 4 months here to do their damage. I would say basically that there's a bad seed being planted here by these corporations, by the people that don't represent you. I don't know if the pronunciation is right, but Kike is your children. I'm a grandfather twice. I don't know of anything that's more important. My question, I guess my statement would be, when you see people like Patrick Wong represent you, ask yourself, why is he smiling? I don't think he has anything to smile about. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Clerk?
Next person to testify is Michelle Joyce Thornton, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. She will be followed by Alan Brisley.
Aloha.
Aloha.
My name is Michelle Joyce Thornton, and I'm a 29-year Maui resident, voter, and I think you've heard plenty of opposition to the appointment of Patrick Wan. I agree with that. As a lawyer, a good lawyer will take a case if the case is right. So I would very much question his judgment to not look at the facts of this case. And number one, that the county has had a vote. The people of the county of Maui has said that we want to have a moratorium. So his advice to the mayor should be, go for it. Stand behind your people. You'll never be wrong. You're never wrong when you stand before the people. You've heard the people, one after another.
Please address the chair.
Well, they've heard the people, one after another. Okay, Mike, you've heard the people, one after another. And I guess some of my questions would be, one, if they want to appoint him, why is he not here, mandated to be here to hear all this? This is something that in this position needs to be known. The fact that he's not here, chose to leave the room, means that he does not want to listen to the will of the people, and he should not be the one with our taxpayers' money hired to be the advice person to the mayor. Now, the mayor may have different views, but a legal counsel should be telling him that mainly as an elected representative, your number one job is to stand behind the people. Now, the people have been spoken. I've heard them one after another after another. You're telling me that there's people with other viewpoints around here. Well, I don't see them. I don't see anyone passionate up here about the other viewpoint. So, we need to respect the vote. We need to be bold politicians in this time. We need to stand behind what the people want. This is clear. There's been a vote that's gone before the people of Maui County, and it wasn't just a vote that some politicians put up. This was a citizens' initiative vote, the first in the history of Maui County. So proper politicians will get behind that. Will get behind the people that vote for them. Thank you, and I respectfully, after all these testimonies, request that you do not appoint Patrick Wan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Mr. Clerk?
if I would be permitted the time to do that.
Please proceed.
Okay. All right. So first things first, I'm here in Maui and promoting the scientific consensus on GMOs. You know, there's a lot of good people. Deb and Tom.
Please address
Cray,
the chair only.
Deb and Tom Cray, the Riddies. I had the opportunity to stay at their house when I was 9 years old. We went hunting. So these are good people, but they're afraid. They're scared of a technology they do not understand. So I thought I might share the international scientific consensus on this issue, which is backed up by every scientific organization on this planet. We have the American Association for the Advancement of Science. They say the science is quite clear. Crop improvement by the modern molecular techniques of biotechnology is safe. The American Medical Association says, our AMA recognizes that there is no evidence that unique hazards exist either in the use of rDNA GE techniques or in the movement of genes between unrelated organisms. Bioengineered foods have been consumed for close to 20 years, and during that time, no overt consequences on human health have been reported and or substantiated in the peer-reviewed literature. We have the World Health Organization. GM foods.
One moment, please.
Please show some respect. I mean, show some dignity.
If you don't respect the process, and then I will be happy to remove the folks that are making the coughing sounds.
Well, like I said, there are some good people, and then you also have crazies in every movement. You know, half the people I've talked to are against vaccinations. I mean, we're banning GMOs this year. What are we going to ban next year? Vaccines, antibiotics? This anti-science movement in the country must be confronted and stopped because, I mean, what is this madness? Why are we banning GMOs based upon what? These unsubstantiated allegations of poisoning. Where are the poisoning victims? Where are they? Let's identify these people. Let's come together, find these poisoning victims, and I don't know, let's sue Monsanto or something. Why do you have to ban GMOs if you claim that, you know, the biotech corporations are poisoning people? Certainly we should be able to identify some victims and come together on a case. So yeah, I really wish that we could get past this anti-science, anti-GMO movement and move on to more productive things, you know, like maybe addressing the most egregious pesticides that exist, or possibly, I don't know, buffer zones or whatever. Yeah, let's move on to these important issues and let's not get stuck on stupid on GMOs. I mean, the international scientific community, the European Commission, the Royal Society, the oldest scientific organization on the planet, the international science academies of all the major countries, China, India, Brazil, United States, UK, Canada.
Okay, that ends your testimony on that item.
On 5. Can I go on 4 now?
What? Could you tell us what?
Yeah, so
what
continuing on with that same theme, let's talk about a lot of the misinformation out there on the anti.
Excuse me. Wait. 15-4 is the appointment of someone to the Public Works Commission.
Yeah.
So what you just said has nothing to do with someone being appointed to the Public Works.
No, I think it does.
That's my decision.
Okay. Well, can I talk about the Public Works Commission then?
Okay, let's hear what you have about the Public Works.
Okay, so I believe that GMOs have a wider impact on the entire environment and all development in general. I support the non-enforcement of bad laws. I wish not only don't enforce the GMO ban, but also do not force any laws dealing with marijuana or hemp or anything like that. I'm personally in support of non-enforcement of bad laws. Thank you very much, Chair, Counsel.
Okay. Thank you for your entertaining testimony, Mr. Kahui. Mr. Clerk.
The next person to testify is Autumn Ness, testifying on Committee Report 15-5 and County Communication 15-49. She will be followed by Jasmine Kilborn.
My name's Autumn Ness. Thank you for sitting through this today and listening to what we have to say. We all know that an unprecedented amount of money was spent by the chemical companies in the last election. By some accounts, it was more money than it was ever spent per voter in the history of U.S. elections. And we fought back. The people of Maui, who are tired of being ignored by their own government, by their own regulating agencies, fought back against a barrage of money and dishonest campaigning, and we won. What you don't know is what that win cost the people of Maui in sweat, in tears, in all of the time I didn't spend being a mother to my 2-year-old, in the slippers that I wore out knocking on 3,000 doors by myself, talking to my community. I let my business go and volunteered 8 months of my life to match the army of paid industry campaign staff. I looked people in my community in the face with their looks of powerlessness and tone of despair when they asked me, even if I vote, is this really going to work? I answered that question with, we are fighting with the most powerful weapon we have, unity and our vote. By not defending our vote, the county has made me a liar. The people of Maui have put everything on the line, and we won. And our own attorney from the very beginning wouldn't stand up for us. We pay his salary. His expressed mission is to provide legal advice and representation that promotes public interest. He is not providing legal representation that is in our public interest. It doesn't have to be this way. In November, Humboldt County in California passed a sweeping ban on GMO crops, and just after the election, their mayor was in the newspaper saying that the people of Humboldt had spoken. The law had passed, and it had some sections that were confusing and were going to need some work, but that their legal department's priority was to uphold the will of the people. He pledged to implement the sections of the law that were clear while rolling out implementation of other parts as they were worked out. How civilized that their mayor and their attorneys looked for ways to make their law work. That's what attorneys do for their clients, right? They look for ways to make things work. They look for their best defense. Instead, we watched our legal counsel twist the wording of our initiative and advise our own county council representatives against us. Pat Wong's job is to find a way to defend our moratorium. Patrick Wong's job is to take care of the injection well case. That's his job because we are his clients. Not the mayor, not Monsanto or Dow Chemical. We are his clients. We also elected you. We watched you swear to uphold the Hawaiian Constitution and uphold the public trust doctrine. Is he doing that? Are you doing that? The Maui electorate is well known for not showing up for politics until now. We are learning quickly how to engage our government. We are watching your decisions and how they affect our future. And we are asking that you do not confirm Patrick Wong and you find a more suitable attorney to represent us and our interests. Like Auntie Loretta said a little while ago, it's time for you to start listening to us. When there's nothing left for my grandkids, I'm going to send them to you for an explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ness. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Jasmine Kilborn, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. Last call for Jasmine Kilborn.
Oh, she's there.
She will be followed by John Breen.
Aloha. I'm here today to testify against County Communication 15-5. The Maui County website states that the mission of the Department of the Corporation Counsel is to support county government by providing legal advice that promotes public interest. If public interest includes protecting Maui's groundwater, streams, oceans, soil, and all life forms that rely on these sources to survive, then Patrick Wong's reappointment should be prohibited. I will offer 2 examples that support my argument. First, the county was sued in 2012 for illegally dumping wastewater through Lahaina's injection well. Mr. Wong's advice? File an appeal rather than fix the problem. This is in clear violation of the public trust doctrine. Also in clear violation of his own mission to protect the public trust. That right there is your argument. If he does not protect the public trust, the public mission, public interest, then he should not be reappointed. It's that simple. I learned that in my logic class at UH College. If this, then that. This results in the continual poisoning of the land and water, fines exceeding $100 million. This is negligence, pure negligence. How can we listen to this man, much less reappoint him for more advice? Second, Mr. Wong is responsible for manipulating the language for the moratorium bill on the ballot. These word replacements were used in strategy to protect private, not public interest. Again, his mission is to protect public interest. If the mission of Corporation Counsel is to protect this, then Patrick Wong has clearly failed. I urge you, I beg you, please do not reappoint him. If you do, you will not have my vote next time, and I will be sure to invite all my friends, all my family to the side of the road to have your name and say what you voted for and the stand of the people. One life to live, carpe diem. Take the courage. Be the one to make the change. My mother, she's a pillar in the community, now principal at a high school here. When she taught English, she had this big banner in her classroom. I'll never forget it. I was like 5 years old. And it said, "What's right is not always popular. And what's popular is not always right. Take courage." Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kilborn. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is John Breen, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. He will be followed by Ki'i Kaho'o Hanohano.
Aloha,
Aloha.
Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the council, fellow citizens, visitors. My name is Jack Breen. I live in Wailuku. I've been a licensed attorney in Hawaii since 1989, in Pennsylvania since 1979, and elsewhere. I had the honor of serving in the Office of Corporation Counsel as a litigation deputy. I've been involved in these proceedings before. I've watched the council vote not to confirm a mayoral appointee. I went through the process of another choice having to go through and getting appointed. There are some very serious legal issues here. May a government attorney refuse to defend his client in litigation? There are rules of professional conduct that govern an attorney's actions. I would ask you, before you vote, yay or nay, please read Hawaii Professional Rules of Conduct 1.2 and 1.3. Hawaii also has the benefit for an attorney. If he thinks he doesn't have the obligation to defend his client for some reason that he can state, to go to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel and obtain a formal written opinion explaining whether his thoughts on that hold water under our rules of professional conduct. I urge you, please consult with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel before voting yay or nay. These are very important issues and they have precedential value. There will be other times when you pass legislation and a corporation counsel thinks there's some problem with that and your law gets sued and challenged in court. And he will have to think, will I defend the law passed by the council? The ODC may answer that for him right now. There are, I don't want to cast aspersions on Mr. Wong. I don't know his reasons. I would urge you to request that he provide you with a formal, publicly published written opinion as to why he chose not to defend his client. There is important precedential value in that. Other people who've made that decision, including the Attorney General, did that. In the very rare circumstance, the only one that I had heard of before, where a lawyer decided not to represent his client. May I have a moment?
No, that's
all right.
You have to be fair to everyone.
Yeah, no, I understand. I would recommend that you take a look at some of the other stuff that's out there. This is a serious, serious matter, even irrespective of where you stand on GMOs.
Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Ki'i Kaho'o Hanohano, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. She will be followed by Nomi Carmona.
Aloha no kako.
Aloha.
A couple people asked me if I wanted them to hold my baby so that I could come up here and speak to you folks in an articulate fashion, I suppose. I'm going to be as articulate as I can. And the reason I'm standing here is really because of her. I don't need to explain anything that's been repeated over and over again to you folks today and before today. The bottom line is, I'm standing here for my kupuna 7 generations back and 7 forward, at the very least. And we're here to remind you that Nakupuna is watching. Yeah, the choices that you make, what you choose to do with our aina, with what is left of our people, coming together, fighting for what we have, what is ours. Please support the people. People all keep saying, you work for us, you work for us. You represent us. That is your kuriana. Please really, really think about the decisions that you make. And it's not just about this man being in his position or not. It's a way bigger picture than that. And you know what I mean. So when you go home, when you go into your council, please pray on that. Yeah? Call upon your kupuna for their wisdom. And may they grant you the appropriate pono choices as you walk for us. You speak for us and our babies and our future. Mahalo.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Clerk?
The next person to testify is Nomi Carmona, testifying on Committee Report 15-5. She will be followed by Paul Garrett Hugel.
Aloha, Chair and Council. My name is Nomi Carmona. I'm the president of Babes Against Biotech, representing our 39,000 members, of which about 15,000 are in Hawaii. We're testifying in opposition to the reconfirmation of Patrick Wong as Corporation Counsel, formally opposing Communication 15-5, and we don't organize against this confirmation lightly. Our primary reasons are: 1, his failure to competently adopt the actual language of the initiative to the ballot; 2, incompetent legal maneuvering lending to the taxpayer-funded fine of $100 million and counting; 3, and failure to adequately defend the GMO moratorium initiative lawfully passed by the citizens under the laws this council is sworn to uphold. So he's currently charged with managing 14 attorneys with a budget of $3 million, but he's costing at least $100 million with his demonstrated ineptitude. To enter a one-sentence legal brief on behalf of no position, what exactly is it that we're paying for? We actually need highly ethical counsel who can complete their duties in public service in good faith. And so far, we have several examples of gross inefficacy. And to reconfirm it, I would suggest, would demonstrate gross negligence and potential liability on behalf of the council. In a place which is subjected to the highest levels of open-air GE testing that's banned in 32 countries, we really don't have the option to fail to enforce or defend the initiative. I feel it's my duty to explain to you what your constituents did, as I witnessed and organized with and amongst them. On top of the massive efforts put forth to place this on the ballot, and citizens doing everything they could think of, Maui was fighting off over $8 million of propaganda funded primarily by Monsanto and Dow, and our members here needed help. So in the last 30 days before the election, we formed the Coalition for a Safer, Healthier Maui with dozens of other organizations, and we had 30 days to do everything we could do with all of our economic disadvantage. And these citizens, your constituents, defeated the force of what we now know was $15,020,480 of chemical company funding against safety testing. We followed the rules and the principles that we're taught are the purpose of a democratic republic for a better society and common welfare of our communities. And in those 30 days, hundreds of volunteers against paid canvassers going full-time reached 10,425 doors. They called 22,000 voters at minimum, and they won by 1,077. They did the work that promises the yield of the will of the people, and we were outspent unprecedented levels. This is international news, and at a certain point we have to ask, is this a corporatocracy or a democratic republic? And do you recognize how this looks to the rest of the world if we don't enforce and defend this moratorium? So if you want more participation in your own issues, then you have to show the will of the people actually works and that the process actually works. We have no confidence in Patrick Wong or his reappointment. We urge you to instead insist on highly capable and adroit attorneys who will actually do their jobs and represent these people who love Maui so much. If someone's seeking such a critical confirmation, tradition dictates they present themselves for public hearing, and Mr. Wong's absence exemplifies that disregard. And I would also say we would gladly also accept his resignation as sufficient comprehension of the majority will. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to take a 2-minute recess.